Your dad's Realtree camouflage has dropped more bodies and stopped more hearts than all of the drippiest modern military camouflages on the market. So why do people keep on dropping entire paychecks on Rhodesian brushstroke knockoffs or tiger stripe Cryes? Well, today we're gonna compare hunting camos to military camos. Why? Josh, tell them why.
Yes, we will be comparing a wide variety of camos, millions even, that's not fair, dozens at least. But we have to get on the same page in regards to what camo is for and where it best fits the needs of the average individual you. All right, getting on the same page, what is camo for in the first place? And secondly, why are you even putting it on to begin with? The definition of camouflage is in order to hide a person, item, or animal. Now with that in mind, we all probably have our own understanding of what camo is, but then why are we actually putting it on? Well, you may have to look at the state of the world on your own and process through the idea of blending in. Now, we're gonna be doing a lot of testing, hunting and military style camo, as well as just a little bit of urban camouflage too, out here in the woods. But why you might be applying it or wearing it is just simply to blend in, not be seen. The same idea as why we love freedom. Leave me alone, just let me live my own life. I'm not trying to attract attention to myself. You could chase that theory a long way, but we'll leave it there for now.
So what is the difference between a hunting camouflage and a military style camouflage? Well, the military camouflages are kind of general camouflages that need to be flexible in a lot of different kinds of biomes or environments, if you want to call them that. They're also great for bringing a uniformity to a group of people so that you know who your team is. They're a very team-based camouflage or uniform so that you can quickly identify who the good guy is, who the bad guy is, so forth and so on. Now, hunting camouflages, in my opinion, are very different because they are very, very specific to the biome. Their main priority is to blend in at all costs. They don't care about matching other people or the guys around you. It's all about matching the environment. But in that, they're not usually designed to cover a lot of different biomes. They are specific patterns for specific places at specific times of the year. For example, what I'm wearing right now, which is standard Realtree hardwood, I believe. This works decently out here right now. It's actually better for the fall, but in the winter, it's not as great. In the summer, it's not as great. In the spring, it's not as great. Whereas you have something like multicam, which actually blends in most places around here, but in the summer, spring, and even the fall. Now, the reason why hunting camo has to be so specific to the biome is because it's not trying to defeat human eyes, it's trying to defeat animal eyes, specifically prey animal eyes. Take turkey, for example. Turkey have 3 times better vision than the average human. They can also see 8 times further. Their eyes are monocular eyes, which means they're on the side of their head, which is common for prey animals, so they can have a wider field of view, but both of their eyes articulate separately. So, you know, you could have an eye looking off this way and an eye looking off this way, and their brain is processing everything. You combine that with the fact that turkeys are always poking their heads around, and they're basically little mini 360 cameras taking in everything around them. And if anything looks out of place, because they can pick up on colors and even UV light better than humans can, well, you'll be spotted.
This is why there's not just one perfect camouflage for every single biome and every single season. Now, that again is why hunting camouflage is specific, and you'll see a lot of professional hunters or even people who aren't quite professional, they just love hunting. They have a closet full of camo because they're fitting different locations throughout different seasons. Whereas again, the military camo, you could grab multicam and it's gonna work in a little bit of a more arid location, as well as a rainforest when it's raining and super green. It's gonna try and stay flexible. So let's just kill this right off the bat. Nope, there is no one perfect camouflage for everything, everywhere.
I'm ashamed to admit this, but one of our sponsors who makes content like this free for you guys and possible and keeps us going every single week is 100 Concepts, and they make scope caps and hex caps, and I have not bought them for this old school 300 Win Mag of mine. It's an old gift from my parents, and I just haven't upgraded, and I'm pretty embarrassed because I don't even have it to show you. So I am going to go use the code that we're giving you guys, which gets you 15% off everything from 100 Concepts, especially the scope caps. So go and check them out. I need to, because these Butler Creeks are kind of lame.
Another big shout out to Mod Light. So we run a lot of different equipment from different brands. Even if someone sponsors us like Mod Light, we still use brands like Surefire, or if we're trying to be, I don't want to say cheap, but less expensive, Streamlight from time to time if we're testing something. That being said, in my opinion, and I know Drew's and Nick's as well, When it comes to Mod Light, it's a premium product and it excels. Now, one of my favorite things that they have done is they have made all products that they're coming out with to be dual fuel. What does that mean? Well, I can throw a rechargeable 18650, or if you're using a smaller body, 18350 battery in there. It's just going to perform better. Now, with all of this camo talk, where does it really not matter? Well, it kind of matters under night vision, but way less than during the daytime. And if you have some nods, I would encourage you to go out and experiment with different kinds of movement and camo with your buddies. If you don't have night vision, I would encourage you to start saving. I know it might take longer for you than some other people. That's not the point. Begin saving with the end goal of buying some night vision. Now, when it comes to buying night vision, whether it's accessories like helmets, Ear Pro, or G24s, or even just the nods themselves, our favorite company is Steel Industries, and that's just from personal experience from all three of us. So thank you very much, Steel Industries. We also have a discount code for non-sale items. Link is in the description. Let's get back to the video. Well, let's play a game real quick. I want you to picture a deer. Deer can be really, really hard to spot, even for someone with a trained eye. Now, if I told Drew over here, hey, there's a deer over there. If you are picturing a deer, you're probably picturing a deer horizontal to you. You're picturing the entire silhouette. You're picturing the outline, not necessarily faced this way, staring right at you. Let's do it the same way with, let's do an AK. Picture an AK real quick. You're probably picturing, unless you're gaming this, a horizontal outline of the shape, not necessarily looking down the barrel of a rifle. So the concept of camouflage then expands to a silhouette. What are you actually trying to hide or conceal? The definition of camouflage. Well, if you are wearing a skin-tight suit of Realtree camo in a setting that actually fits Realtree, what might give you away is one of two things: movement or your silhouette, or maybe both. So breaking up the outline of your body or your rifle or your gear is going to play dividends in the long run in regards to camouflage.
In our previous videos where we've talked about camouflage, both how to paint your rifle to blend in with your body and your surroundings, and in the signature reduction video, which we jumped into camo a lot and patterns on that one, and even silhouette, I saw in the comment section all the time guys being like, hey, I live in Arizona and this camo pattern is perfect for me year round. Or, hey, I live in the Southeast and this one's great during the summer and this one's great during the winter. If you're hunting for the right camo based on your biome, there are always some great options. But the question I don't think we ask ourselves enough is, why are we buying camouflage in the first place? Now, hunting camouflage, it makes sense. You're out there hunting. Why are we buying military camouflage in the first place? I think there's a good reason, there's some nuance to that conversation, but if we don't think through, like, what scenario are we preparing for where we have to wear this particular type of camo, we're kind of missing the bigger picture, maybe even wasting some of our money.
Yeah, and so the other thing you have to think about is, let's take a step back. Camouflage is designed to keep you from being seen, but humans, predators, cameras, drones, airplanes do a phenomenal job at actually picking up on movement and human beings. So what is the story that you are telling with the apparel, not just camo, but the apparel and gear that you're wearing? If I go out into the woods and I'm wearing all Realtree with a hunting rifle in October, during a season where it's appropriate, most people, even a game warden, is going to see it and not think twice. Hope he gets something and has a great time. Now, if I were to go out with Realtree camo, a rifle, and a ballistic helmet, and that rifle is an 11.5 that's suppressed, now you're telling a little bit of a different story visually, and it could be a little bit harder to explain why it is that you're wearing that. And then what if we go all military? Well, if it's not hunting season and I don't want to wear Realtree camo or Sitka or Crye, whatever the brand is, and I'm wearing all multicam, I have a rifle that's broken down in my backpack, and I am looking like I am a prepared citizen who's out for a hike on government property where I'm supposed to be exercising my rights, then people may understand, oh yeah, it's a little bit weird, but he's going out for a hike and that's okay. It doesn't bother me. Let's go one step deeper. What would you do if you saw someone in all hunting garb, you came up on them and they were bleeding from their leg and they needed help? What also would you think if you saw someone in all military garb somewhere? Maybe it's an urban area, maybe it's on your front porch, they knock on your door, or maybe it's out in the woods and they need help. You start to tell a story when someone sees you in this kind of apparel. So we have to consider the state of the world, how it keeps you from being seen, and ultimately, what story are you telling when you're actually wearing all of that gear together? With that being said, let's run our test.
Let's do it.
All right, now we all understand camo theory, but as far as our test goes, this is really just a good demonstration on what it is that you should be looking for in one single environment in one day. Granted, the sun is still moving on us throughout the day as we're doing this test, and in one biome, one state of the world, everything is still standardized. And what you're gonna see over a period of different kinds of camo is that pretty much everything works pretty well. The only thing that tends to stand out are bright colors, too bright of colors like Multicam Arid or Marpat or AOR1 in this lush green environment. And then we see solid colors that don't help as much as something that has camo breaking up shades. But when you are selecting a camo, the biggest goal, obviously, is to start with, well, look outside. What is the major color that you see? Here right now in Kentucky, we're looking at green. Green performs really well. And then from there, you start to branch out to shapes, sizes of those shapes, and secondary and tertiary colors too.
One thing to note is when you're watching this stuff on your screen, the camera operator, Nick, he's actually setting the focus to be focused on the area that we are hiding in. But our human eyes don't work like that. Our human eyes are constantly changing focus. And as you scan a landscape, you know, between the things that are in the foreground and the things that are in the background, your focus can be shifting back and forth. And if you are scanning over an area that has someone hiding in it and you're not focused on it, it's actually very difficult, significantly more difficult to pick them out. So we've given the camera every advantage to see us, and still camouflage patterns all work pretty well, regardless of which biome they were designed for.
Now, another question that I had was, how much does layering or altering between different kinds of camouflage really matter all that much? So let's say that you have a Rhodesian brushstroke top and you have a Multicam Tropic pair of bottoms. How does that actually stand out? Well, the truth of the matter is, because it's all camo and because they're kind of in the same style, they're both greens, a little bit of tans, some blacks, it doesn't matter all that much. So you could probably get away with mix matching M81 and Multicam Tropic because they're designed for the same biome. Now, what we do start to see is when you're grabbing accessories, let's say that Drew, you had one where you were wearing this hardwood Realtree hunting camo, you throw a plate carrier on, it's green, that blends really well. But if on the front of that placard you have a tan or Multicam Arid that's fairly contrasting against a dark or gray top, that's where that rectangular blob really stands out. So from what we've seen, changing up the patterns across your different layers of apparel, not a problem, as long as you're more or less staying inside of the same concept. You're staying inside of the same color patterns.
Then you have accessories that can kind of amplify your ability to blend in. The first one being face paint. As soon as we put on face paint, immediately it's significantly more difficult to pick us out. We left it off to begin with to help you see us, but once we put it on, all of a sudden we're basically unrecognizable. That goes for the neck, the ears, the back of the neck, the face, and there's a whole theory and art to face painting. It's not as complicated as you may think, but that's another video for another day. Addition to that is gloves, and if you do have your sleeves rolled up, covering up your arms, we talked about this in the last signature reduction video, which you guys can check out, but gloves go a long way. And if you don't have all of that, just using dirt and mud, I rubbed a bunch of dirt and mud on my hands, covered my gloves with it to kind of like mute out the blacks and the contrasting colors. In addition to that, you can also use pack scrim to cover up your scrim or to cover up your backpack, and any sort of like netting or covering or kind of to create sort of like a cobra hood to break up your own silhouette. Because one of the easiest things to spot was, of course, the shape of our face and our head and our shoulders. And as soon as you start to add on some netting to kind of blend those edges together, we stop looking human. Now, if you're using the wrong color or the wrong pattern, it can still stick out, and it potentially even stick out more, but you're still removing that human shape that people typically spot. And we weren't too far away. We're 40, 50 yards away from the camera, which sees things better than you can as a person. And even still, like, whenever we put on the wrong kind of netting, you couldn't tell that it was a person. You could just tell that there was something there that was off. So the right color pattern to match whatever it is your biome is and what you're wearing, you start to become a ghost. Now, even with just normal clothes, like a dark flannel and some typical field pants, I start to become very hard to see. I've killed so many deer out here in these woods, out here on this property growing up. Whenever I was wearing jeans and a flannel, or jeans and like a thermal top that was tan. Now granted, deer don't have the best eyesight, but they do have good eyesight. I would not ever go that route for turkey that can see amazingly well. But you know, there's kind of like a blend there between a deer and a turkey and how well a human sees. And you can get away with a lot so long as the contrasting color isn't like so severe and you don't move. See, the reason why it was hard to see us is because we were standing still. Movement is the killer of camouflage. Now, when I was younger out hunting these woods, we were not super well off. We hunted for food because it was way cheaper to spend a bullet on your meat and then process it. Pretty early on, I figured out like, hey, don't mess this up. And I figured out a lot of like little things that you just don't do that will scare away game. One of them is scanning with your head. You have to scan with your head when you're under night vision because you're looking through two tubes. But you have a pretty good field of view just as a human by not moving your head and scanning with just your eyes. That reduces the movement that an animal, or even a two-legged animal, can pick up on. The other part of that is like the actual movement of your legs and your body. If you want to get from point A to point B, and it's a lateral movement, so it's horizontal, it's a cross. Oftentimes the best way to do that is not to go from left to right. It is actually to back up directly in line with your target and get to a blind spot or put enough like cover or concealment or brush between you and it, and then move laterally, move horizontally, and then into your next position. This lateral movement, this sideways movement, it's an absolute killer. You could have the best camouflage in the world. You could even have numerous things between you and whatever you don't want to be seen by. It'll give you away. It's that forward movement that is much more subtle because it's easier for humans to pick up on horizontal movement than they do depth. Wait, hold up, Drew. Are you telling me don't buy all these like dope camouflages? Absolutely not. Go out and buy them like I know I do. I've got tons of different camouflages. There's nothing wrong with enjoying that, especially from a historical perspective or even a preparedness perspective. But just remember, like, think about, why do I actually need this? Is this an actual good use of my finances and of my money, or should I be putting resources towards food supply or water supply, or do I or should I just blow all that money on another pair of Cryes? That's really the question that you have to answer here. And what we've shown is that even poor camos can perform really well whenever you know how to employ them, when you know how to use them. So just for one final thought, Josh said something to me that just stuck out when we were developing this video. Why don't you just say it?
Sure. So to sum this all up, it sure seems like it doesn't matter what kind of camo you're using. What matters is how you're using the camo you're wearing.
Real tree camouflage has dropped more bodies than all of the drippiest modern camouflage.
We got to get on the same page first. First question is, I don't remember.
Tiger stripe Cryes or Rhodesian brush. Mossy oak obsession, kind of like my wife's obsession with Love Island USA. And mine. It's degenerate, but I can't stop watching.